I hope I'm not
Good evening.
intruding.
Not at all. Biding my time. How's it going?
Hi, Ross. Lovely to see you.
Good, and you, John?
It's been a long time, man. You're looking good, strong, and
You
healthy.
too, man.
Where am I? Is this a music room in your house, or a studio, or a bedroom, or a toilet?
This is like a studio section of the house.
Cool. And I'm right above the piano, which is great.
Yes, I'm leaning on the piano. Yes.
Because I'm planning on us writing a musical together during the show.
Okay, let's do it.
Hey, man. Very, very nice to see you.
You too.
Let's just start by, I hear you, I mean, all good. I hear you're not drinking at the moment. Is there any particular reason? Is this a permanent thing or a temporary thing or a strategic thing?
It's literally just a thing. I've just decided not to drink for a while. I've been mildly drunk for about 20 years. So I think it's a good thing to maybe give it a rest just for a little bit,
Have you, and during lockdown, did you do much drinking? I mean, is this something that you've been doing for lockdown, or is this a new thing?
I think I think in the beginning we had nothing, and then we did the pineapple thing. My dad he had panic attacks. I mean, his priorities is definitely Castle Light. I mean, normal Castle. He's a big fan. He was panicking, but he was he walked around his underpants a few times with the pineapple beer. We had so much of that stuff. But then at the end of it, sort of just when we couldn't we just decided to just take a break.
Do you mind if I'm going to have a whiskey, if that's cool? It's my show, so I can.
You must have 10 whiskeys.
This is what I was going to send you, which I still will, but I will send you this bottle when you're drinking again, right? It's Ben Riach. It's a limited edition barrel. It's very, very special Beautiful. Thing that I was saving for you.
Okay, thank you.
Now I'm going to drink it on your behalf. But you are apparently I was told until your birthday. What happened? And then your birthday, all the shackles are off.
Yeah, let's see. I might go until July, till my birthday. But we'll see. I mean, I've maybe a year with no beer. Let's see what happens.
What are your other vices then? What do you do to stay sane?
I think, I'm gonna have to find some new ones. Because pub crawls was always a good way to like sort of decompress, see the friends and everything. I think now I just like being at home more. I think this lockdown's been even worse for me in keeping me locked down now. It's nice to be just chilling at home most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, lovely to have you here. I have no agenda. That's the nature of the show. I don't know if you've seen any of these. They're completely fucking bonkers, some of them. But I am. Let's just start and talk about about this show that you're doing, because in my mind I can't help but think Empty the Dome. The direct opposite of Novest.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks, man. It's like when we played it with the Birds of Prey tour, like it was packed, and if the older me had come and said in 20 years you'll be playing this and it'll be empty, I would have been quite upset. I think it was just sort of an opportunity came around to get in the room, and it's such an iconic space. Like I remember sound checking there years ago, and just like the first thing I did, I was on stage on my own, and I just turned the amp up to 11 and just let it sing out into that room, and the echo was amazing. I felt like it was amplified 10,000 times. So it was quite nostalgic and cool. And you can see all the stains on the floor from where you'd been and watched shows, I think a few of those stains might be some of my friends, you know what I mean? Like, the crazy times had in that venue.
Beer, blood, and semen.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then, so have you done a rehearsal for this show? Or, I mean, is this going to be a big tech show where you're going to build the stage as if is the stage going to be in the middle, or what's the plan? Yeah,
the stage is right in the middle, and it looks amazing. We've got there's such a beautiful production that was brought in, and I think for that reason it was so nice to have. I mean, the crew guys, the guys behind the scenes, have been battling, I think, even more than anybody. And for them to be back, I think, as well, it was quite fantastic to see. And we've got such skilled guys and such amazing talent in the behind the scenes thing to see them build this beautiful set. So it's been amazing. Filming this thing has been incredible.
I'm going to get back to it. I just want to. You've just reminded me. I'm working with some people at the moment on quite an interesting project, and the aim is it's a big sort of national streaming concert with stage infrastructure, but the idea is that all the artists play for free, but we're raising money for the sound engineers, the stage crews, and all of those sorts of guys. It's something we want to do at the end of March, beginning of April. I don't know if that's something I can talk to you about at some stage, but I do think, I have seen a lot of situations where, because everyone is kind of desperate, everyone's trying to get money to the artists, but there's like a long line of session musicians and crew members who are really struggling and selling all their shit and just trying to stay alive.
Yeah, most bands like that are touring and on the road is that there's at least more than 10 people, I suppose, So yeah, we're always trying to, we would like to help, and so we'll definitely be on that show, but it's it's scary to see. I think a lot of guys aren't going to come back to the industry, which is very, very sad.
Aren't you afraid of the acoustics in that room, being a big, loud rock band playing in a gigantic circle?
No, we got some good sound guys, and the drums sound like gunshots, though. I mean, that's if you don't have your in-ears in, you're just hearing gunshots. My dad came to one of the rehearsals, and he's just, he just walks around the edges, and he's just like in the shadows, like Nosferatu, and he's watching the show. And he said, the sound is fucking terrible, Ross. And he was panicking and everything. I'm like, Dad, you're hearing complete echoes. You've got to get on the headset. So we gave him a headset, and then he was fine. But then he took over and started making changes. As dads do, I suppose.
Tell me a bit about your dad. I don't think I've ever met him. I know he's around. So what was little Ross growing up with Dad like?
That was cool. My dad is. My parents are from the UK. They're both from the Air Force. So they met in the Air Force, and we came to South Africa to work the steel plants. So my dad's like, his hands are made of leather. He's missing fingers. He's worked so hard. You know what I mean? He's lost body parts, and but he's a big character, and he's a big comedian. He missed his calling.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is it? What is a dad joke in the Learmonth household?
Well, my dad is like, he's like, I think the one day I was reading an article on this kid who'd found a cheap way to test for cancer, and it was something amazing. It's like this young kid, and it's kind of a cheap thing to preset. And I told my dad the idea, and he said they found a cure for Alzheimer's, or a way to test for Alzheimer's as well. And I said, "What's that, Dad?" He says, "What's your name?" Which is a terrible joke from my dad, But that's his kind of humor.
Scottish?
Yeah, we're all Scottish. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you born and bred in South Africa, but they're from Scotland?
I was born there, and I was 3 months old. I was wet from the womb when I was brought here. So yeah, very, very young.
The Scots are the best people, man. That makes a lot of sense to me, dude.
Oh, thank you. I'm a Scottish African. Yeah. I'm the best kind of mix.
So just tell me a bit, what made you do this? Is this a project that came to you? Was this an idea that you put together, or is this something that other bands are doing as well?
I think there's been a lot of bands doing the streaming thing. We've done a lot of live stream stuff.
But playing the dome, an empty dome, that's not something I've seen yet, or have I missed something?
Yeah. No, there's nothing. They've always been in these studios. We just thought it would be kind of funny to play a venue like that of such importance. And obviously, the ban on playing live has been pretty shit for everybody. But at least we can get out and play again and try and make a last ditch effort at maybe making an income after a year. So I think it's sort of a way that it's sort of more exciting. It's something more exciting to look at rather than, hey, this is my couch, So it was kind of, that was more the challenge to put it together.
You've done quite a lot of streaming. I remember we worked with you. You wouldn't have known it, but there was the fundraiser we did with Dave Matthews. Weren't you on the Dave Matthews thing?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And then there was the other one we did with. You were on the one with James Bay as well, weren't
Yes.
you?
Yes.
So have you been doing a lot of
There's
fun?
been a few things. Yeah.
You've been streaming your ass off for the last year, or have you been selective about it?
Yeah, I think we've done like 3 streams. We did a Jacaranda thing as well, which was one song, and then we did the CSS, and then we did one before that. So yeah, just trying to keep it going, to like change with the times, adapt to survive and to play live.
First of all, I'm really happy that you guys reached out to come on here. But one of the things that's always been interesting to me, I mean, we've known each other a long time. We don't really know each other, but we've had, we've spent a couple of evenings over the years.
Yeah.
And this might sound like a super random question, but it's always been on my mind about what keeps bands together.
Yeah.
I remember, I mean, I have a very vague memory of a gig we did with you 50,000 years ago. It was for Rafa. It was for Sovereign. It was down in the basement of the blues room.
Yeah.
You were the big band at the time. We were the new signing.
Yeah.
And it was Airship Orange, who was Jacques Moulman from Shadow Club. And it's interesting. I mean, it's always been intriguing to me to see you. You knew what you were when you started. You got into your lane, and you have never wavered from that straight line. Whereas I look at myself, cassette was one thing before the album. We were another thing for the first album. We were a totally different thing by the second album. I've had 16 careers since then.
Yeah.
And you just so like a fucking heavy train on a train track. What is that magic?
Yeah, well, we've been fortunate. I think we've been very lucky to sort of been able to be able to stay around each other. I think to a point where I think we've had some really hard times being around each other, but in the end, we always managed to get through it, And then we've been fortunate enough that people just kept coming to the shows, and just be able to go out and play. And I think we've constantly every year try to move our bench, and try and like lift the bar. I mean, every year to try and get to new territories and tour. So I think the love of the road is the thing that's kept us going.
And how do you deal with relationship issues inside the band? I mean, that's the thing. We fought all the fucking time.
Yeah.
We were never really close friends in our band. We were all all ambitious guys who had their own ideas, who were trying to get somewhere, which I also always think was probably our best asset and our biggest weakness.
Yeah.
But I mean, how do you deal with being married to the whole band for 20 years? I mean, that is crazy. You're talking about hard times. What were those hard times?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of like misunderstandings and being on different pages for a while, and then a lot of personal things with each guy, and it's hard to sort of cross those barriers when someone's dealing with something that you have no understanding of, and you're expecting them to be on the road when missing every kid's birthday, those kind of things. But I think it was also the design of the guys. It's sort of how they're built, It's just that sheer love. I think that there was, it was kind of cool to be kicked in the ribs by conductors of train stations in Norway, because you're not allowed to sleep there, and then you get to tell the story the next day. I think those are kind of my favorite stories, where it was really
the hard times bonded you.
Yeah, because you're spending every dime just to be there, and you're throwing everything you have at it, and then someone says, "Yeah, it's okay," or like the rejection, and it's a long, windy road, and a musical journey is never an easy one because of the self-doubt and the constant having to check that,
I suppose. I mean, and no disrespect. Okay, well, you can correct me. I don't mean any disrespect to your band, but I don't know how to say this without sounding like an idiot. I mean, you could have had you've got a band around you, but from the outside, you are the driving force, the singer-songwriter. You could have had a solo career and been traveling the world alone for 20 years. And the artists I know who do that are all fucking.
Yeah. I think it's a tricky slope. I mean, my loyalty to these guys has always been something that we've always cherished that about each other as well. But I think also my solo career is always something that I started playing music as a journey. And I think, you get caught up in writing like sort of pop songs and trying to compete on a level or trying to write something of value that might, but also at the same time as a pop sensibility. It's a tricky, sort of balance. And I think that always wanted to progress more as a musician and an artist before I even thought about a solo. So I think, I mean, now I've been writing for the last year. I was in Nashville in the beginning of the year, and I've been like meeting people that it's been incredible. That Prime Circle, that sort of, because I'm the writer of Prime Circle, it's opened doors for me to meet amazing people that I can now start working with on a solo record as well. So there's definitely one in the pipeline of I'm already way too deep in that.
So, okay, when you said you were in Nashville beginning of this year, you mean 2021 or last year?
2020, yeah, sorry. Yeah,
okay,
sorry.
just checking. So
I'm still falling for that, yeah.
I was just thinking that was very, very amazing how you managed to get in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so all I know, I'm an outsider, so all I know is what a fan knows, and I know that you guys did a lot of touring in Europe, and you have a fan base there. But how are you connected to Nashville? What kind of songwriting are you do? What is that world like? I've always thought about that, but I didn't know you were playing in that game.
Yeah, it was incredible as a songwriter, and sort of the massive anxieties of stepping away from the band, because I've only written with myself and the band, and a select like one or two producers to a small degree as well. So for me to step away and sort of playing, I've started playing shows on my own, and to step away and start writing with complete strangers was incredible. And just getting in the room with some of these guys was just another mindset. I mean, it's not just a country style place now. It's everything. It's almost
everything.
It's the new Hollywood. So it was incredible. The one day I arrived at a guitarist's house, and the guy had a couple of hours. He was working with a publisher, and put me in the room. And he was such a nice guy. And we wrote this song in like 2 hours. And I said, "So what do you do?" And he said, "I play guitar for Keith Urban." And I said, "I've never heard of her." And then he told me to fuck off and leave the house. But no,
is that a real story? You're talking shit, right?
No,
did you say that?
Story. I didn't.
You said that.
I said I've never heard of her, and he just laughed, and he thought it was a very bad joke.
Nice.
But it was a great writing session, and I think that's something that I wish I'd done 15 years ago, and I wish that more South African musicians would break their fear boundaries and just go work with as many people.
So how did you do it? Did you have connections here, or you just arrive in Nashville looking for songwriters?
There is people you can go to, like approach publishing companies and those publishing houses that can help you, and then I through Jesse Clegg as well. He's been going to the States quite a lot, and he hooked me up with a couple of his friends, and then it just spitballed from there.
And what kind of try and explain, if you can, what kind of mind-opening sort of things that experience, like you already said, you wish more South African artists would go and experiment. What was the sort of enlightenment that you learned doing that?
Is that we have a lot to offer as well. I think you get quite nervous, and it's quite daunting if you're writing in the UK or if you're writing in Nashville. These people are swimming in a very big pond, I think, and like they're fishing for these big hits, and some of them that I worked with that we should work with have had a lot of that success. So I think that's the thing. That's the big daunting thing, and then just to see it in a different light, like music on a bigger forum.
Can you be more? I mean, I get it, and I like what you're saying. Can you be more specific, maybe about? Maybe an approach to writing, or I mean, I'm just interested to know. I would love to have that experience.
I think the confidence that they have is one thing. Yeah, that it's weird to see in South African artists. I think sometimes working with writing, we can be a little bit sort of, maybe it's part of our nature, it's upbringing. Sort of we're not trying to be big posers all the time, I suppose. And I think our confidence sometimes doesn't show up, as much as it should. And there's reasons to be it's justified that we are. We could be confident. And
So
I think
do you
that's
think
one of the biggest factors. Yeah.
South African artists often suffer from small pond syndromes that
Yeah.
it's because we're not on the world tour circuit and everyone
Yeah.
else is. Everybody feels part of the world circuit except we feel we're a little test tube on the. So approaching the global markets, we often feel either overly confident or underly confident.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's like I'd like to see more people going over there and being and working with the world. I think sometimes we can be an island, amongst ourselves.
Do you remember
look at Black Coffee doing so well. I mean, it's incredible.
Do you remember SJ from Love Jones? Do you remember the Love Jones?
Yeah, we still speak.
Oh, cool. She's working with Billy Corgan at the moment on a song.
Yeah, I've written for her and pitched for some bands, and didn't get the gig, but it's still amazing that she's like that. To me, is amazing. She's opening up channels for South African songwriters to also try and get their hand in. I mean, I can only imagine if one of these bands takes on a song that you've written, it's a game changer.
I mean, again, that's a highly competitive market. The ant nest of songwriters trying to get there. So, have you seen that TV show?
Okay.
So what they do is this is TV show. It's the 3 top songwriters in the world. It's Ryan, Ted, Fred. What is his name? The One Republic guy, and 2 others. And then fresh artists walk into the room, and they pitch songs to them. And whoever gets the best song, they workshop with the producer and the songwriter, and then the artist, whether it's Black Eyed Peas or whatever, they go and re-record that song. It's incredible. It's one of the best TV shows ever. No one knows about it.
That is incredible. Awesome. And what is the name of it? Now we need to know.
All right, hold on. Let me Google it. So, songwriting TV show, Ryan. What's his name?
I have no idea.
I'll just put Ryan Republic.
Ryan Tedder. Is it Tedder?
Tedder, that's right. Ryan Tedder. Wait, TV show. Hold on a second. Sorry to do this. Songwriting TV show, Ryan Tedder. All the artists want to work with him in the show.
Yeah.
Songland. It's called Songland.
Okay.
It's so cool. It's super cool.
That's very cool. Well, Anna Carstens and I came up with an idea for a show years ago. We were playing a festival at Fancourt, and it was over a bottle of Jägermeister. But I still think it's a great idea. It's called Band Grenade, and you get different bass players. Yeah, Band Grenade, and you get different drummers, guitarists, singers, bass players, and the public picks, and they put together. They make 4 or 5 bands of mismatched musicians, and then they have to go 1 week. You can tune in on Facebook like Big Brother, and they get 1 week to write a song, and then it goes out in the charts. And whoever, I mean, it's like a bit of like, it's that radio stations used to do like these kind of collaborations. But I think this could be quite cool because Band Grenade is for the people, and they design who works in what band.
I love that idea, and not to take the credit for it, but I actually did that with Arno Carstens on MashLab.
Yeah, MashLab, yes.
So when we did MashLab, for Arno's MashLab, we got the public to vote for different members, and we built a band out of it was Jade, that amazing female drummer who used to jump bait for Jack Parrott. That's right, her. And the fans voted for each of the band members, and they voted for Arno to sing. I think you were even in that mix.
We were in one of them, but I didn't know you did band members. That's incredible. You
were in the one we did with
Black
Coffee, which is quite incredible. And that song never came out, but for some reason I have heard it on 5 quite often. I think they just kept it on the system and they've played it before.
Brilliant. That's brilliant.
That was a hell of an experience. I remember that being I think we worked it. I have a fond memory of working on a song with you, and I still think that we have that song somewhere, and I was very, very proud of it, but it wasn't the song we ended up going to MashLab with. But there was a great song that we did together.
Yeah, that thing is missing, man. I think Daryl Toll, it might be in one of his shelves somewhere, you know what I mean?
I've got it somewhere, yeah.
Oh, it would be amazing to hear it, because I remember that writing session was a lot of fun.
Super cool. So
that was with the Gretsch guitar as well, yeah. I love that guitar.
Yeah, those are days. Them were the days. I mean, you're still having the days. Tell me about, was there ever a time in Prime Circle's life where you thought this was the end of the road for the band?
Many times. Many times. I think,
Top six.
I mean, as recent history, as recent as a few months ago, I think it's just sort of really difficult to sort of like live this lifestyle and then have it completely taken away. Not to complain, but I think it's been very hard on the band and the crew. So hence the reason we've been trying everything. And up, like we're not people that take no for an answer. You know, we'll try everything we can. So at least we've tried that. So these kind of shows have been, you know, building up to this main event now, I think, and to see how this new normal we can make it work. You know, I think it could be something that must continue in the future. Streaming, you know, people must stream shows all the time. Even I'd love to watch bands in Seattle and see them stream live shows, and you know, from all over the world. So I think it's a cool thing to do. You know, I think I left the point a little bit there.
Well, I think you're right in a sense that this is one thing I definitely think is this is going to be on, you know, this is a new revenue stream. Once the doors are open, it's not going to close this. Once you're playing gigs again, it's not going to mean people are going to stop doing these live streaming shows. It's a new revenue stream or a new opportunity to do stuff. I mean, the coolest thing about, if you think about your Dave Matthews gig or the James Bay gig, you got gigs with 20 bands from around the world organized in a week and actually able to be done. That's really cool. That there's a space in the world for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think the fact that you can make a difference, that music for meals was an incredible thing. And I think that just being able to sit in your couch and feel like sort of at task again and have some purpose was quite nice, you know.
So the question was, and now I remember that you very smartly dodged, was about moments that Prime Circle may have come to the end of the road.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's been so many. I mean, our old drummer sort of married my ex-girlfriend. There was
that pre-Dale? Was that the drummer before Dale? Because that's the one thing I have a very fond memory of. I think we were also courting Dale at the same time, but he obviously went for the band that was making money and had a career. He made the smart choice.
I think Dale was up for he was trying. He was a loved drummer. Yeah.
What a dude he is. He's such a great drummer, such a good dude. He was a kid though. Man. He was a kid at that time. I remember it so clearly. We played on some stage in Pretoria, I think, together. And so what happened? So with your previous drummer, you had some drama?
Yeah, then we sort of moved ways, and you know, he had a big family, so the road was too much. So we parted ways, and then there was so much. There was a lot of like lawsuits. I was sued about Hello. There was stuff with David Gresham, and you know, just as you go on, you collect all these sort of these hurdles that and they're kind of medals as well, stuff that we have, you know, sort of defeated, you know, especially management and gatekeepers and those kind of people that, you know, they should have been pushing further for you to go further, but instead they were holding the gate closed, which is it's sad, you know. Those kind of things can really drain a band when you're touring and you get those wrong answers and not everything's working the same, you know.
You always seem like such an easygoing guy. What have you learned about managers and what have you learned about record companies that you have to know?
You have to have. I spoke about this. There was a beautiful thing. I was speaking to Jesse last night about it, and we were talking about his father Johnny and how he looked at the industry. And I found this to be quite profound. Like, you sort of have you got to have your vision. You know what I mean? In sort of off on the horizon, and whatever, then you are indestructible. Because if you have your real reason and you that will never be changed. Your horizon is your horizon. Then it's such an amazing thing to, you know, nothing else can get to you. So I think what I'd learn is sort of have that horizon more. I wish I'd known myself a bit more, and I wish I hadn't taken sight of that. And I think because there's a couple of years that it's sort of, you know, I mean, things could have been different. But being in more control, I think that's what I'm meaning.
So did, for many years, did you let other people run your career, and now you're learning to take to?
I think you sort of, you trust people in a certain aspects, and then I think you just got to keep a good handle on everything.
You have very skillfully, unlike me, and maybe you can correct me on this. You're a fucking good dude. You don't seem to have enemies in the industry or guys, bridges that you've burned. Do you feel differently when I say that, or do you think that you've done a pretty good job at that, at
I
keeping?
appreciate that. I mean, I try and not. I love the industry. I've always loved watching music and listening to it. So I think for me that's more the cool thing of being a part of an industry. I don't know if everyone thought I was great. I think some managers have hated me and spread some words about the band and about me. But I think as long as I don't have any ill will for anybody, and no reason to sort of try and. I think it's better to make things better. I think if I'm making any sense. Yeah.
No, I get it. I mean, I remember we had it was MATLAB days. We had some drinks, quite a lot of drinks in Melville for those couple of days. And it's the first time I ever really got to spend real quality time with you. And I was surprised that, and don't take this the wrong way, you are who I think you are. Where I wasn't sure before that. You're a romantic. You are love what you do. There's no pretenses there. You're super honest, straight down the line. What you get is what you see is what you get, and I find that super rare in this fucking insane industry. And you have big ideas, and you do things like play the Dome empty, which is on one level fucking insane, and other level genius. And I don't ever hear people talking badly about you, although I can imagine a lot of people saying some pretty shitty things about me, and I haven't done anything intentional. It's just the way the industry is.
I've never heard that. I've always
that just shows how nice you are, because we both know that that can't be true.
It's a nice industry. I think that it's good that a lot of people are mates as well in this industry. Like it's nice to when you get to be around some of these people, and I still have fan moments, and these people are dear friends. So it's kind of cool,
To admit this to me, because I feel this deep down, and I can't get over this. Me and Arno are very good friends, but I'm always fucking starstruck when he walks in the room. If he comes to the house, I just like. I'm in love with him when he walks in. I can't help it.
Yeah.
Do you feel that way with Arno?
I do. Yeah, I do. I think definitely it's he's just that I think it's also the nostalgia of we've watched him when we were younger, and just like
he was a god. He's got the god thing.
Yeah, I do think his new lifestyle, he seems to have gotten a lot of his mojo back and increased on that. You know what I mean? He's getting now that his focus is a lot more there. I think he's matured a bit. And I worked with him on we're going to do this big band thing, like some Nat King Cole songs and stuff. And I was working with him before, and this has been canceled till I don't know when, but it was just so cool to work with him and in that kind of environment, and his charismatic way comes out, you know what I mean? And he starts to play with the orchestra and make jokes and stuff. It's quite a thing to be standing next to, and you're going, wow, this is very cool.
Who are you also big admirers of in the local industry?
I mean, Art Matthews, obviously, big fan of the Just Ginger guys in general. I just think that musically they were so gifted, so always amazing and just great down to earth people. I think they've seen a lot of the industry in a very
bad story way. Is hectic. I did a great chat with him, and I got the real meat and potatoes out of where they, of their American. I don't want to say failure, but their American challenges.
Attempt. Their attempts. I think they got a lot of bad luck, as well.
You guys also had a good stab at doing some stuff in Europe, and tell me about that. What went right? What went wrong?
Things have been going right. It's for us. We always felt like I said it. I think in like year 7, of us going back to Germany and playing to like, I think one of the venues was like 200 people, but it wasn't 25, you know, and it was like year 7 or year 6. And it's just like, this is hard. This is difficult, guys, like really, but enjoying it. And then starting now I mean, at the end we were playing to 600 people some nights, and we were starting to move into bigger arenas. And I think that's the kind of cool thing about Europe. You can judge it based on, you can play the same venue, but just spill over into the bigger parts of that venue, the more tickets you sell. So it was really cool and exciting to see. And we had some problems with management, and we had some problems with the release of the last record. And just because we were rushed, I think we did, if you don't, you never will. I think in literally a month and a half, we did that record. And it's a miracle that any song on that thing has actually done anything because of the timing. But we were rushed by like ridiculous timelines, and I'm not making any excuses. It's just it gets tricky. But I think if it wasn't for the lockdown, we would have been touring hard in Germany and the UK. You know.
Can you remember a time or a moment that you think was the biggest obstacle, or the moment where you had to get through something that was impossible to overcome, that do you think has made you the sustainable legacy band that you've become?
Yeah. I think there's a bond there because of that. And I think that people, it's a great thing that we have, you know. I think we've been constantly chasing so much that it's like, it just allowed us to sort of look back and sort of take stock at some of the stuff we've had to do and face. So I definitely think it's part of it. Yeah.
But what is can you remember a moment or a time, that you something you had to overcome in order to move forward, that has stayed with you and made you what you guys are? Because I know with us, you know, we didn't survive our first failure. You know, that the first time we really failed hard, that was the end of the band. It was 6 years in. We spent all this time building to a particular point, didn't go our way, and we were done.
Yeah.
You know, a big regret for me.
Yeah, I think you guys could have. I think you guys should have hung on longer. You were a great band, so I think those. You know, it's also a timing thing. You know, I think for us that some of the hardest stuff we've had to put through is sort of having to deal with major lawsuits and trying to figure stuff out with not lawsuits, but to the point of just having lawyers' fees up to the hilt and tax problems, and just trying to fix all of the business holes that were left by people that should have been running it differently, you know. And I think, you know, and ourselves, you know, you can't blame anyone else. I don't blame anyone for the bad deals I signed. I should have read them better and got lawyers to read them. But those kind of things, it's nice to be able to say we're still standing and we're still writing, and we've still had #1 hits on our 7th album, you know. So that's an amazing feeling.
Was moving away from the Dave Gresham company a big obstacle, or was it just business as usual?
It was a big obstacle. I mean, I looked at David Gresham as someone who I looked up to a lot. So it was hard for me to try and sort of learn those first lessons, I suppose. But then, you know, and the world is promised, and you're young and naive. But yeah, I think it became a thing of business as usual, because we've had to face a lot of those kind of things over the years, you know, of big decisions and moving away from certain ways of doing things.
Not to press you too hard, but I'm just trying to find if there was a moment, if there was a particular thing, a particular time where you just said, I'm fucking out of here, I'm done, and what caused that and how you overcame it. Because I always think it's how you approach your biggest problems that shape where you are, and when those problems arise now, you can breeze through them.
Yeah, I think you know what it is. It's more like that kind of you can be really angry with someone, but at your core, you really do adore those people, and you can get over those.
When you say these people, are you talking about the guys in your band, or are you talking about? You're being very vague to me. I'm trying to.
Yeah. No, it's you can about the people that are like the band. Yeah, like it's sometimes each other's idiosyncrasies and bullshit is something you can just overlook because the song is better. It's only chase the songs. I know it sounds like a cop-out answer, but it's a thing that sort of kept us going in that way. You're not as big as what the song does for somebody, I suppose.
Best song you ever wrote, worst song you ever wrote?
I think they possibly could be the same song. I think, I'm sorry, I'm just trying to position this. I look like I'm in the dark here. I think Hello is sort of the best and worst song. Hello put us on the map. It was like that. That's why this show is important, because of that Birds of Prey tour, and playing Hello in the dome was just like, it just changed our lives. Like people didn't know who we were. They knew the song, and then when we played it, it just sort of the people knew who we were. So it was just an incredible thing. But at the same time as well, like I always wanted to be a better musician. When I wrote a hit, I wanted to be more interesting. I wanted to be more evolved. And I think this sort of, it just happened, and then it sort of spitballs, and you just sort of make it up as you go.
But you were a kid, man. You can't still think that was, I mean, that's a great song. You still think that's the worst thing you ever wrote?
I think technically it's one of the worst things and one of the best things, because it changed our lives, and I just, it's a great song. I love the song for what it's done for my life,
I'm just taking advantage of the idea that, one, you were in Nashville, and B, you're sitting next to a piano. Is there anything you're working on? Or, I mean, I'm interested to know, or maybe you could talk me through how you actually approach a song,
Yeah. For me, it's sort of like a lot of just, it's sort of randoming, like you just sort of start fishing around. It's very rare. Like My City was written with a little bit more intent, like I heard it, and then I found the chords, and I sort of went from there. But I think a lot of the time it's just, sometimes it's deliberate, but then sometimes I'll just hear something, and then you start finding melodies. I've learned to play the piano in lockdown a little bit. So that's what I was
surprised to see, that when I tuned in, you were busy noodling on the piano, and that was surprising to me. I only know you. My wife was telling me I should talk to you about, she has memories of you sitting backstage at concerts, just sitting there playing the guitar. We're all drinking, we're all like talking and strategizing, and you're always sitting there doing your thing.
Yeah. A bit awkward, I suppose, as well. I think it's like a thing that I'd always have in my hands, as sort of a way to sort of deal with, being anxious, I suppose. But yeah, I always liked noodling on a guitar and having it around. And now the piano has just changed that sort of mindset. Now the way I look at even melodies. So it's kind of a cool thing. I wish I'd done it sooner,
So are you writing on the piano now?
I am, yeah. So there's a couple of, I don't want to become the piano man, even though I don't know if this will
Come on, piano man.
Okay, let's see. This is a new instrument for me, everyone. So this one is called.
You're not going to do chopsticks, are you?
No. Okay, this one's called Forest. No, I'm not sorry, I'm honest. Years ago, I was lost in a forest, overgrown. A voice inside me keeps calling out, but I don't know if I can make it out or make it on my own. Just an idea.
I love that. Here's a nice question for you. Finally, you get a good question. How is working on the piano? I'm a piano first guy.
Yeah.
And I find writing on a guitar really limiting. Like, great for a little riff or something, but it doesn't really, it doesn't allow me sort of to explore melodically. Has it changed how you write? Has it opened stuff up, or are you still just figuring that out?
It has changed it a bit. Like, you can hear a lot more melody in the piano, and I've been playing a lot more, like, sort of trying to be more soul and more gospel sounds. I don't know why, but it's just sort of appealing to me more. And my favorite kind of shows are like Tiny Desk sessions and those kind of things, and seeing, the artists play like that's for me is amazing.
Best Tiny Desk session, go.
It's definitely Mac Miller and Anderson .Paak.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, it's the tricky one. Yeah.
That's awesome. You must check out The Roots with a guy called Bilal.
Okay.
It's fucking crazy. I mean,
Amazing.
those Tiny Desk concerts are incredible.
They are. They've definitely they've changed the way I look at music as well. I love it. I found so many bands on that. You know, I follow Khruangbin because of it, and a lot of great bands.
Is that on your bucket list for Prime Circle?
What's that?
Tiny Desk concert.
Definitely. I think I'd love to do that show. It would just be incredible with the band or a solo. I just love that show. Is incredible. I'd love to do something like that.
Okay, Tiny Desk phones you, says you got a concert tomorrow. What are the songs you play?
It depends who's playing. Is it the Prime Circle or is it me?
The decision comes. Okay, hi there. This is Jacques Poloni from Tiny Desk concert. Is that Ross?
Yes. How's it going?
Hi, Ross. We've got a slot for you on Tiny Desk concert, either for you or for Prime Circle. You can decide. What would you like to do?
I would take the band, definitely.
And just so you're clear, are you doing that out of loyalty, but really, do you just want to do it yourself?
I would just love to play the show, you know, but I would definitely be playing.
Sorry, I've just heard from the producers they don't want the band. I made a mistake. It's just for you. What are the we need a quick response on the 3 songs you're going to play so we can make the booking.
Well, I would do a Mac Miller song definitely, and maybe I would definitely do a Leon Bridges song because that's where I found Leon Bridges as well.
Okay,
and I do like Breathing or something.
Can you do me we need the producers are asking if you could do a Leon Bridges song for us now so we can just check that this booking can be confirmed.
I don't even have my guitar with me, so unfortunately.
Okay, sorry, the slot's cancelled. Thanks very much, Ross. Bye.
Yeah, shit.
Can you play a Leon Bridges song for real?
Yeah, I play River. I've been playing that at the solo shows. I play the River song.
Amazing.
It's a lovely, simple, beautiful song. Every time I play that song, my dad looks at it and he loves the song and he looks at me and he says, "Why didn't you write a fucking song like that then?" You know. And I said, "Dad, I've been trying for years."
I love your dad. I love your dad.
Yeah, he's terrible. During lockdown, my dad, I had to rush into hospital quite early in the lockdown, and we didn't know what it was. I thought he was having a stroke or something like that, and we took him to the hospital. They couldn't figure it out, and the next morning, in true Scottish fashion, my dad phoned me and last minute said, "I'm standing in the road. Come and fetch me. I'm out of the fucking hospital." So I had to rush to fetch my dad, and I got him in the middle of the road, and he's standing there with his stuff, and I drove him home, and we're sitting there, and I picked up quite a lot of weight during lockdown, and my dad says, "You're becoming a fat bastard," and he says those cookies in your fridge are too chocolatey. And then I realized my dad had found the edibles, and he got up at 3 in the morning, and he'd had about 6 of these chocolate biscuits that were extremely potent, and nearly killed himself.
Well, that takes me very neatly back to my first question about since you're not drinking, I take it that your vices are delicious cookies, or
yeah, I'm not into edibles really.
Having said that, you just had a fridge full of them in the story you just told.
Yeah. I was just I had a few. You know what I mean? I had a little box of them. If I hadn't had them, that's hence the reason there was so many left. But yeah, my dad is not an edibles man either.
Just on that topic, when you were in your hardcore drinking days, did you ever have? I don't know how I got there. How did you have any serious issues, or you just knew when to stop, or what's your personality type?
For me, I love socializing. I never drank at home, but I was never home. That was the thing. So just forgot.
So drinking as a band is drinking all the time.
Yeah, no, you drink it on the road, then you get back, and then you decompress at the pub. So it was just sort of a 24/7 thing for me for a long time, and yeah, I just forgot too much in my life. So, it's been nice to remember things and start to actually get memories back. I think I was forgetting too much and forgetting people, and then that leads to more anxiety because you can't remember things. So for me, it was a good thing to sort of try and get my memories back.
Outside of saying no regrets, do you have any real regrets that you wish you could have done something differently?
I think, I have to say no regrets, but I do think I wouldn't have drank as much on tours. You know what I mean? It's been such a joy. Like, I must admit, I've never been someone to really go too crazy, in the sense, like, I always sort of know when I'm going to embarrass myself.
That's a superhero power to be able to do that.
Yeah, well, that's the stuff that you remember. You know what I mean? Then you never know. But I think, yeah, for me, it was just sort of, just too long. So nice.
Cool. All right. Before we go, just the last thing I would say, later this month you're playing on possibly the biggest stage in South Africa. I mean, obviously to no one, and I don't mean that in a weird way.
Exactly.
But I mean that's iconic, and you have done some stuff that most South African bands only dream of, and I still remember, those Prime Circle gigs in the early days in like shitty little biker bars. And when I say shitty, I don't mean shitty. I just mean like, where there's not enough stuff on the stage to fit. The PA system is only half working.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about where you've come from? And you've obviously got super proud dad who's on his adventure with you. Do you ever think about those times and where you are now, and how incredible journey that you've had?
Yeah, I definitely. It's something we were talking about last night as well. It's a thing of taking stock. You have to allow yourself to do that. I think because we are always sort of looking at the next sort of thing. So for that, it's amazing, and having to carry speakers through crowds for many years, and be the crew and band for many, many years. And then to be able to have an amazing crew and people that sort of rely on you as well. So it's been an amazing journey, man. And it's I hope that a lot of these musicians and a lot of people can continue it. I think that's the big thing, is that it's up to the supporters now as well, and for them to sort of get back to it. It's important that people go back to these things, in the drogues. Yeah.
And I guess you're starting that process with this show. And
I will put in the car. Yeah.
I'll put all the links to the tickets and stuff. I'm not going to ask you to remember all that shit in the show notes of this. So if you're watching this, you can get tickets by linking and stuff. I can't wait to see what you're going to do. The last Prime Circle album was 2017. Oh, well, obviously there was a live album.
Yeah. The live album came out. That was a couple of years.
And you've been writing. You've been writing a lot, but you've been quite cagey about whether is it Prime Circle? Is it that Ross solo stuff? Is there a combination? Where are we going?
I've been trying, but I think my mind at the moment is on the Ross Learmonth stuff, and I've taken the time to sort of to figure out what sound that is, because I'm trying not to write something that sounds like the band. I think that's I do that with them. I'm going to try and write something different, but been writing a lot with that. The show itself is sort of business as usual, in the sense of we're throwing everything we have at it. Yeah, we're rocking the show, and it's it's all the bells and whistles, which is was so much fun to do. But it was quite crazy getting back in. So we've the show is going to premiere on the 28th. The show we've already filmed, so it's now we've put this show together. So it's quite an incredible experience,
Oh, cool. Well, I feel honored to be chatting to you. I've loved just catching up and figuring out what you're all about. You're a tough nut to crack, Ross.
Sorry, John. I don't feel. Yeah, sometimes I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, don't be sorry. I get it. What I love about chatting to you is I get your loyalties and priorities are all deadly straight.
Sure.
I'm poking holes left, right, and center, and there's nothing to poke at, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
The one thing I just want to ask, you haven't mentioned your mum. Is your mum still about?
Yeah, my mum is about. She's she's sort of the very creative one behind the scenes. She's they've just moved up to Joburg from Middelburg, thank God. I was trying for years to get them out of the coal dust, you know. So finally they moved up.
It took a global pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, it was terrible. The pollution was ridiculous, and so now they're in Joburg, you know, and my mom is loving it. So she's made the garden look fantastic.
Obviously, it's been tough for you. It's been on the road for 20 years to be stuck at home for the last year, and we're not sure what's happening. What do you think? What do you think has changed? What do you think you've learned? What do you think is going to be different for you going forward?
I think, my frustrations about the planet have always been there for many, many years. And I think now that, like, we've pushed the planet to the brink again, that there's now viruses and stuff we have to deal with on a big level. And I think it's going to continue to get worse if we don't change our habits, you know. So hopefully that changes. And I'm trying to change my ways as much as I can and become a better sort of human. But it is something that I think we've all been humbled, and we need to see that as what it is. I hope people come back more humbled, because this has not been a movie thing. This has been so real for so many, obviously. But I think sometimes people just take it for granted that everything's going to go back to normal, and it shouldn't.
I don't think it will. I feel like this is a 9/11 moment. You know, the world's never going to be the same. It's not going to go back, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
What do I know? Fucking nothing. Ross, lovely to chat to you. I hope I get to buy you a whiskey around your birthday.
Cheers,
and
thank you.
Have one with you. I'm sorry to be drinking alone, but I love chatting to you, and I wish you a lot of luck for this crazy thing. And I'll be watching and, you know, do what you do. And I guess we'll catch up again in 20 years.
Yeah, well, I'll see you hopefully soon in real life. And yeah, man, thanks for the interview, and thanks for letting me have a platform here. This is going to be a lot of fun. I look forward to it.
Out of here. Cheers.
Cheers, John. All the best.